Hi guys, my name is Janessa and this is my review of Master Books Foundations Phonics by Carrie Lindquist. This is a foundations of reading book for people who like the Charlotte Mason method or who like elements of it. It uses living language and it uses multisensory methods and it makes it very fun, or at least that's what it's supposed to do. So here we start with the table of contents, a letter to the parents with some information. It says that it takes 20 to 30 minutes per lesson, 3 to 5 days a week. It does not take us that long at all. We go through it pretty quickly. It tells you your indicators of when your child is ready to start reading, your indicators of when they're ready to start writing. Here's a writing readiness assessment, and then here's your sight words. So the Charlotte Mason method, it is a combination of phonics and sight words, not 100% one or the other. So these are the sight words that you're going to be learning and focusing on each week. So it recommends that you get index cards or that you make up some index cards and you review the set sight words for that week during the week. And so it doesn't start off with week 1 because week 1 is when you get the A in and you can't have words without vowels. And so after it introduces the A and it's able to make a few words, that's when it introduces some sight words with the letters that it has already taught, and it goes on from there. As you can see, some of the lists get longer as more letters are taught, and then you are also always expected to review the sight words from previous weeks just to make sure that your kids have them down pat and they aren't forgetting them. Here's your material list also, and some helpful hints on this page. Here's the material list, which is great because as you can see, you can really see what you would need for each week. And a lot of times these materials, they're like the bonus activities. So you don't actually need these materials. You can do the lessons here with nothing but the book, but this makes the lessons more interactive and definitely more fun if you do them. Okay. There is also some tips on how to stay organized, and here is your suggested daily schedule. That way, if you're in a state where you need to document everything, you have this and it makes it easier for you. You don't have to do it on your own. You can just have it at the beginning of your book with all your dates and your grades and so on. And it goes on and on. And then something that's really nice is the progress chart, because you can see exactly what you're going to be learning at a glance instead of having to look through all of the assignments. So as you can see here, you learn a lot of letters and then you review ever so often. And then right here is where you start getting into the blends. And you haven't gone through the entire alphabet before you get into the blends, because we're working on creating words as well as learning the letters with their sounds and how to use them. So you get some blends here and then you continue going into the letters as well. And then you end with Z and a review. All right, so this is what each lesson is set up pretty much the exact same way. This is your page for the parent, and then this is a little diagram of the page for the student. Now, this is where you're going to read some. They get a little narrative. This is a Bible-based curriculum, so if you are secular, you will not want this for a secular education. This is purely Bible-based. There's no way in getting around it. Everything leads back to the Bible. Everything, absolutely everything. So as with everything Bible-based, my recommendation and what I always do with my children is that I read what I'm going to be teaching them, what the excerpts are before I actually teach them to my children. So there are excerpts from the Bible, but then there's also things that have been summarized that they want you to narrate them in a short and vivid way so that you can build a picture for the children. And so you always want to make sure that you're on point with what their views are. And so just to give it a little review before you teach it to your children, just in case there's anything you don't agree with or anything your denomination doesn't agree with. So you give them the little narrative, which is a really exciting little story for them to get involved in learning the lesson. And each lesson, it tells you in bold what you're going to be learning. So you don't want them to guess by seeing your page. You want them to guess what they're learning based on how you emphasize the letter. N is for nothing, none, not even a bit. So there'll be times where you're asking them, what do you think our new sound is? And stuff like that. And so then you move on and you show them what the uppercase and the lowercase looks like. And then they can trace it, or they can draw it in the sky, or whatever you want. And you have little imagination exercises, which are great and fun. And then you have a listening exercise. And the listening exercise is a little different every time. So this time you listen to the words and they're gonna say yes or no if the word has an N in it, if they hear it. And then the next time it might be nod your head or touch your nose or jump up and down. And so it keeps it really fun and entertaining instead of doing the same thing every single time. And here's their worksheet. They can color it, they can draw it with their finger, whatever it is that you guys want to do. We're not using the sheets because we don't do printed copywork. So my daughter just does everything by pointing at it. And here's letter identification, letter recognition. And then you do a little bit of copy work, which is great because we don't want to exhaust them with the copy work. What we want to do is for them to do their very best every time instead of just trying to get it done. And then here's some more sound recognition with the pictures. And that's basically how they work. Here we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the 3 different lessons for the letter A, because the vowels are done multiple times because they have multiple sounds. So the first A is for Adam, so it's the short A, and so you learn about that. And what I really don't like about it too much is that the vowels always have the phonetic markers on them, basically, so that you know what it's supposed to sound like. And I don't think that is a great way of teaching this. I feel like that could become confusing in the future if they don't see it. I think they just need to learn how it's supposed to sound, and if there's if something just doesn't apply to the rules. So that's kind of the one hiccup I'm having with this. In addition to, of course, we're not using the copywork, but that's not really a big deal. I mean, one day we might use it when we're doing print instead of cursive, but for right now, that's not something we're into. So it's the same thing, a little activity. And then we're getting into blending the letters that have already been learned. So this one is not introducing a new letter, it's blending the letters that have been already used. And that's what this lesson is. And then here is a review, an example of a review. And here are all the letters that they should know for this review. And you still get a lesson narrative, but then you move on to the review, which you can choose to grade or not. And here's the review. They read, they circle the word family, and then letter recognition. And this is the beginning of the book, so here's an activity. They have to choose the correct letter, and then here's some more letter recognition, capital letters with lowercase letters. Then we move on to next A. The next A is the long A, as in Abraham. And so you're learning the next A, and of course this A has a different marker on the top. So see the short sound, and then here is the long sound. So they're always told what it should sound like. They're told visually what it should sound like. And so then here they've already learned enough letters that they can make some words. And remember, we're also always doing those sight words. So you're always going to be coming back to the beginning and seeing what sight words go with I lost the page, of course. So what sight words go with your lesson? So we're on lesson 13, week 5. So lesson 13, week 5. Week 5 is of, on, and not. So far, up to now, we should have had 2, 4, 6, 8 words, and we're adding on 3 more. So those are the 3 that you should be introducing with this week 5 lesson. And then the worksheets start differing a little bit. This is the first time they introduce an entire selection for them to read. And they read the large print, and the parent would read the print surrounding it. If they do feel like that looks overwhelming to them, what you can do is you can read the whole thing, and then when you go and read it the second time, then they read the appropriate words. And so here's something different. So they try to keep it interesting. They don't do it follows the same format, but not exactly the same thing every time. And then here is a third A. A is for alter. So you have a new A now. You have 3 different A's, and they have to identify them. So that way they're able to learn all the different sounds that A makes. You have some reading mixed in. Here's the first time you have entire sentences that the child is supposed to read. And these sentences are the typical thing that you would find in some readers. So, Mom made jam, Sam ate jam, I sat and ate jam. So very simple sentences that they can, at that point, that they can read themselves. And then you have the words that they can read in another passage again, so that they're able to read things out of real books and out of the Bible. Here we go. Here's another verse. But as for me, and that's the part that they can read, my family, we will serve the Lord. That is the parents' part. So they're able to share reading in a way. Here's another review. You see all the letters that they should know, and they're able to review. Here's where the TH is introduced. The TH is introduced before all the letters of the alphabet are done, probably because there's more words that have a TH in them than an X, Y, or a Z. So that's where they're going with that. And then here's the first long reading that they have to read. And it's like from a reader, and it is, and they're working up to that, evidently. So they have drawing, they have reading, and here is how their worksheet has progressed. They have some coloring, some copy work. So they are progressing. It's not exactly the same every time, but it's not boring either. This is the first full passage from the Bible that they're able to read on their own, with the exception of your. And then here's the first entire full passage they're able to do all by themselves. And obviously they encourage you to praise them when they're able to read certain things, which is great. And then you have NG next. And then at the end, you're able to your final review is being able to read Jesus loves me all on your own. And then here's your final review of all of your sight words, or many of your sight words, not all of them. And at the end, you get your little certificate of completion, which is fun. I do love things about this curriculum, and there's things that I really don't like too much. I'm not into the as I informed you before, I'm not into the phonetic symbols above the vowels at all. I almost didn't use this at all because of it. I do love the little narratives and the stories and the activities. They are great. They really are. My child is loving them. I don't like the copy work. That's not something for us. However, I get it, and it's not a make it or break it for me. So, I hope you enjoyed this review. I hope that it helped you, and I hope you have more of an idea of what to expect from this curriculum. Let me know what you think in the comments if you have any questions, and give me a like, and feel free to subscribe for the next review. Thanks.